Now, when we're saying upcycle, we also mean that I will give a nice analogy that I'm used to, and it's a bit funny. But when I'm looking at my children, I give them a good food, a healthy food that they will not be sick. That's because I'm taking care of the problem upcycle. But if I was doing the downcycle logic, I would say, okay, I will give them crappy food that will hurt them. And then when they will be sick, I will take care of them with medicine, or I will take care of them. And I think that this analogy explains why it's a big problem to use plastic and saying, let's recycle it out.
Welcome to Mindful Businesses, presented by Siani, and I'm your host, Vidya Iyer. In our podcast, we bring to you brands which are mindful in their practices and processes. A mindful business adopts and employs sustainable social, economic, and environmental practices. Today, we have with us Joseph Siani, CTO and founder of WCycle, naturally replacing plastics. He joins us from Israel. Welcome, Joseph.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Most people are probably unaware of the fact that plastics was invented as an eco-friendly alternative, as a way to reduce dependence on natural resources. Isn't that kind of ironic? Now we are trying to find an eco-friendly alternative to plastic.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that, but yeah, you're right. It's very funny then in the 50s, 60s, when the plastic was invented, it was, the eco-friendly solution for a lot of product that, everybody was happy to get it. And in fact, it's an amazing product. I mean, it's something that if you look at that, it's everywhere, wherever we go. It's in our clothes, it's in our, in our foods, it's everywhere, and in our chairs, in our cars. And it's really to help us in our daily life. And I think that the purpose has been achieved, what we thought 180 years ago. But the problem is that we don't know how to use that and how to reuse that and how to get rid of that. So, the golden boy become a very problematic a situation that we cannot handle that anymore. It is funny.
Yeah, typical plastic, how long does it take to decompose? Like, say you take a car bumper, or in your context, say a plastic tray, the ones that they serve food in a takeaway or a takeout counter.
It's a very complicated question because nobody knows. I mean, even if I will tell you 1,000 years, it will be amorphic. Nobody knows how long it takes to it will be compostable, and nobody knows actually what will happen when it will be, very, very small particles. So, but we do know that it takes it more than 100 years, 200 years, even to change shape, even to be microfiber. Let's say it's here to stay. Every kilo that we're doing, it will be very hard to take it back or whatever, or to recycle that.
And also, the other impact of plastic is that most plastics are made out of petroleum. So you have that environmental impact too. So while making it, you're causing harm, and then it's not even able to decompose for, say, about a minimum of 100 years, So it's like both ways it's bad. So
yeah, the oil is also a big issue. So if you look at all the cycle of the plastic, so even the raw material itself, by itself, it's a big issue.
Yeah.
So even the end product, it's something that we talk about, but all the cycle is quite problematic.
What are the different kinds of plastics that are used in the food industry? Because, like you said, plastic is ubiquitous. It's used in your car bumpers, it's used in your straws, it's used in takeout containers, your shampoo bottles. Let's just focus on the food industries. What are the different types of plastics, waste that is created by the food industry?
We have a lot of different kind of plastics. I mean, we can go to 100 kind of types, but the major kinds of product that we know is, the PET, the polypropylene, the PE that we all familiar. That's basically the main product that we people bump into daily life. The majority in the food industry is basically all the containers, the food containers that we know are quite small in all the percentages of the plastic that we produce. So we produce around 350 million ton a year of plastic, and only 40% from that goes to the food industry. Now, the food industry is divided to two. So we have a flexible plastic and we have a rigid plastic. The flexible plastic is, like all the snakes that we pack,
The cookies are there in this.
all the flow pack that we see around, the bags that we're doing. And the rigid one is the containers that we use for the food, from ready meals to cookies that we're putting, as we said, and then even to, let's say, the cream cheese and all this kind of sauces. Everything can be packed in plastic. Now, I think that the major that we focus on is, on the food service, is on the rigid plastic.
When you say rigid plastic that you are trying to focus on, can you give me some specifics? What are you trying to focus on?
Yes. When you go into the supermarket, you can see that most of the meat that they packing, most of the ready meals been packed in some kind of trays. And the trays themselves are mainly from either polypropylene or PET, or kind of PET. And these trays are made out of petroleum. And this is the segment that we focused on to replace. The idea was at the beginning to focus on, we initially wanted to eliminate all plastic in the world, but it will be kind of hard, because we think about plastic, there is no way you can even imagine to handle this amount of plastic. So the rigid plastic is a good place for us to start.
We have 40% of all the plastic consumed in the world is used in the food industry. And then how much do you think you would be able to place with your product? And we'll come to your product, which I think is really awesome after that.
It's quite hard to know the numbers, but think about when you're coming to replace a product like plastic, you have a lot of challenges in the way that only after you understand that these challenges are very, very high challenge. The first challenge is, of course, the plastic is very cheap product. When you come in to replace plastic, you have to think about the price and the ability of the plastic. It's very strong, it's very rigid. And also it's, contain liquids. And that is the main thing about plastic, that it's can hold the liquids very easy, and you can close the food inside, and then you make a safe, clean product for the customer. And that is a very important thing. Now, when you're coming to replace plastic, you think what kind of product you can bring to, let's say, compete with such a good product like plastic. And with your permission, I will give you also the brief of how do I start it, and maybe that will give you the clue how do I got to the position of getting to the material that we're working today.
That'd be awesome. Let's talk about your journey.
At the beginning, when I was young and beautiful, I was starting and I was traveling the world. I was in the awareness of plastic is something that is very bad for the environment, but we cannot do anything because the replacements are not there. Nobody bring any a replacement back in the 1995 or 2000. And back then I was traveling in Italy, and I found a friend of mine that was very ecological guy that, he's always been in the against plastic movement in his life. And I saw that he's using diapers, that is using one-time use diapers, and a diaper is the most unecological product.
Right.
And I was a bit shocked, and I asked him, Matteo, what are you doing? I mean, you are against plastic. And he said, yeah, this is a compostable diaper. And then the first time I was realized that there is some materials that are bioplastic, that made out of corn, made out of sugar, that can replace the plastic, petroleum plastic that we know. And since then, basically, I started to investigate more and more the materials that are out there to replace plastic. And slowly, I was sucked to the idea of bringing a company to life and starting to give more effort to that idea to replace plastic in the world. So at the beginning, I was very in bioplastic materials, meaning, I don't know if you're familiar with the PLA, PHB.
Yeah.
And all these kind of materials that made out of starch and made out of corn. And it was, let's say, in that time, I was sure that, in a couple of years, the government will set up and will say no more to the plastic, because we have a solution. Mm-hmm. Although it's a bit more expensive, but I was sure that it will work.
When you say government, you thought there'd be some regulation which would say, okay, no more plastics in the food industry, at least, and you have to switch to a more eco-friendly plastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in a normal, right world, I mean, if we would be deciding about, the next stage, even economically, I was sure that everybody would sit there and say, okay, listen, well, let's start to reduce plastic and bring compostable product. But I realized that it will not happen. First, the second one, I realized that the plastic the bioplastic was made out of corn that have a little bit problems from a lot of people's side, meaning that we're using food for packaging. So instead of eating it, we're making packaging, and that's a problem. So slowly, I was investigating and seeing what would be the right product that will not be food
Mm-hmm.
and will be byproduct and can do the work.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, I was investigating the idea of bringing the pulp back, because back then we saw that there is a lot of sugarcane product that made out of bagasse, quite fit to the to the mission to replace plastic. And I was investigating the idea of sugarcane as a product, and it was quite amazing because it was a product that it's a byproduct for the sugar industry that is much cheaper than plastic, and it's abounded. I was thinking, wow, a eureka.
Mm-hmm.
But the big problem was that paper or cellulose in the nature made for bringing water
Right.
up to the tree. I mean,
Right.
it's supposed to suck liquid from the bottom up that the tree can drink in his top leaves. And that was a problem when you want to put food inside that tray, that product. So slowly, I understood that we need some work here to see how we can make homophobic product, meaning a liquid proof product that will solve the problem of drinking a liquid and using this product.
What is your background? Are you a materials engineer? Because the whole cellulose process is not very easy. It's chemistry, it's you have to work with it and then testing. How did you even think about starting something like this? And what is your educational background?
My background is very, very unique because I came from a lot of studying. Say, I was studying to be a teacher, I was studying like philosophia, and I was studying a bit chemistry, and I was studying a bit nanomaterials, and everything is, a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my curiosity, and I don't have a main focus, but I do understand that I'm autodidact. So everything that I want, I'm learning by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot put me in a capsula and saying I'm a chemistry or I'm a teacher or I'm come from philosophy idea.
But what was your work experience
So
before W Cycle? Where did you work?
nothing. I was traveling. All around the world. I was not in the loop of the study and universities and stuff like that. I was traveling along in all around the world. And I think that,
You were taught by the best teacher in travel.
I think that because I was traveling all around the world and I was studying whatever I want, I think that it's opened my mind for a better solution. Because think about it, if I was in industry, so it was a bit putting me under, some rules that might not bring me to the place where I am. From my point of view, I think that the studying is something that is very important, but it's supposed to be today more precise, because today the knowledge is in our hands. The development of yourself is more important to go to the place of studying something. That's my opinion, but not everybody thinks like that.
Yeah, but I think that's fantastic that you chose this alternate career, because most of the other founders or the CTOs that we have spoken to said, "Oh, I worked here and I had this experience and I took that experience and I did this." But you are self-taught and you brought your experience, your worldly experience as a young and beautiful man and brought it to create a biodegradable product.
Yeah, just another word. I think that it's a mission of my life. This is how I see it. I mean, it's more a mission than my work, because in the end of the day, I know that I have to integrate between, a company that will earn money and, something that will be organized right. And the second thing is also the idea of making good in the world and bringing end of plastic in the right way. These two things have to work together. I think that the mission to put them both is my challenge. I prefer to stay on the only the reducing plastic, but I think that the company is very important as well.
Right,
To do it right, and to bring it to the right level.
right.
It's a very important part in my journey. I will explain also what I mean after.
Talk a little bit about your product. I'm not sure how I came across your product, but I was really fascinated because, especially in the airline industry, I don't like the plastic trays. I sometimes don't eat it because it just comes piping hot in these plastic trays. I just feel all these bad things leaching into my food. So, talk a little bit about your
Yeah,
product.
the product made out of basically we choose the pulp, we choose the cellulose as our main product. We choose that because of the abundance of the material, and also we believe that this product is amazing, the pulp, the cellulose. We can do a lot of things with that, and I think that we are in the beginning of the beautiful journey that really can replace plastic. If you look at pulp, you can see around you that everything that's made, every tree, every flower made out of pulp, at the end of his life can use it as a packaging. This is how we see the product. The product that we invented is basically we use the molded fiber industry for the structure, and we made a formula that basically make the fibers resistant to the liquid, meaning that it will not absorb the liquid, any liquid.
How did you do that?
It's a chemistry,
Hmm.
organic chemistry way to do that. And I think that basically less important how the idea is that it's becoming, like you're doing it in the process of molded fiber, you mix it into the water, and eventually what you get is any shape that you want to do. You can put liquid inside and it will not absorb the liquid. That's the beauty of that. So you can put any food inside and the fibers will stay, we don't say dry, but it will stay unabsorbed. And you can use and you can put food inside for as much as you want. It will stay like plastic, but at the end of the use, you can throw that to the compost and it will become a compostable product. So that's the beauty of that.
Can I put soup in it, like hot soup? And how
Yes, you
long will
can
it
put soup.
stay without leaking?
Soup you can put water there as much as you want, and it will not liquid and it will not absorb. The only thing will go as a steam and evaporate it, but it will not absorb. If you put it in the fridge, we tested it for 4 or 5 months, nothing will happen to it. Of course, if we're talking about observation of the material, the soup itself, if it's open, it will get dry after 4 or 5 months. But the idea is, yes, it will not absorb the food.
And can it withstand the different temperatures? We talked about plastics, how versatile it is. It can be used to freeze and to put hot things. So,
Yeah. So
from 0 degrees to.
So the product that we call it SupraPulp as a code name, the product itself basically can hold up to 270 degree Celsius, meaning I think 512 Fahrenheit. I'm not sure. And we tested that with soup with one of the biggest companies in the UK, and they tested that in a special oven that they wanted to cook fast, so they tested that for 30 seconds that the soup will boil fast. And for other product like ready meals, we can put that in 220 degree for 20-30 minutes with no problem. We can put it 180 for 40 up to an hour, and it stays beautiful. We cook that with one of our customers for 14 hours, 140 degree, and he's making their special dough product that you eat it like that, but it's need a long cook. All the product that you use inside, even with a high greasy product, the tray is working beautifully, exactly like we wanted to. We're really happy about this product, and hopefully we will going to the next one now and to innovate it the next generation, meaning that the new product will be also high barrier, that it will not transfer air between the gaps of the fiber.
Wow. Wow. So what you're saying, the steam being released, that won't even happen. So it'll be a much tighter material?
It will be the same material, but say with a product, you will be able to do a lot of things. Think about long shelf life that you're doing today. It needs some barrier from the air.
Mm.
So that's what we want to do today. The fiber is something that air can go through that.
Mm-hmm,
So if you're doing molded fiber, the air could go through. And the next generation, what we're planning to do is basically to make in the gaps of the fibers our material to be, let's say, be much more high density
mm-hmm.
and to give some barrier properties to the new application.
Who's your co-founder? And you have an interesting background, how you started the startup. It was started in a
Yeah,
kibbutz.
because I know that my mind is more on the innovative stuff. I was looking for a partner that will be on the ground, much more on the ground than me, and much more business wise. And that's what I meant when I told you that I'm focusing on two areas: the companies and the idea, the ideological part. And it's very important for me that the company eventually will get up in the morning and understand that everybody that here is on a mission, on a mission, and that he will feel in his heart that he's coming for something that is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that is very important part. We have the other part that also everybody that comes here understand that it's a company and it must bring money to the company. And these two things must work together. So I found a guy that his name is Lior, and he's my partner in this journey. And he's more on the business part.
Mm-hmm.
And together, basically, we're starting to move this ship towards our goals. And I'm very happy to meet him. It really help us. Of course, we have also a couple of investors that help us with the capital and the money. So one of them is the kibbutz.
What is a kibbutz?
Kibbutz is an idea that raised on 1920, I think.
Isn't that old? I thought it was in the
Yeah,
60s.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was starting when the Jewish people start to come to Israel, and basically they wanted to make cities in all kind of different places, but it was quite hard. So they made a groups that believe in socialism. Basically, everybody works together, and everybody gets the same amount of money. And at the end of the day, you have food on the table, and the kibbutz is taking care of all of your things. So he gives you house, he gives you food, he gives you education, and basically you work in several things that the kibbutz work with, and this is how you pass your life. It's a very interesting place. Since then, it has a lot of changes from the 1920s. And today the kibbutz is over here in Gan Shmuel. It's quite the same, but it's more oriented, say, for economic scale, meaning that they are working together for, let's say, everybody works wherever he wants, but all the money goes together to the same bank account, and everybody has a budget. So it's a bit different. Once the kibbutz was working inside, and today everybody working also inside and outside.
They also do investments and they invested in your venture.
Yeah, yeah. The kibbutz today is more like a big company, but it's a family company that also live in the work in the company. You understand? I mean, it's quite funny. Yeah,
Yeah, I do. I do.
it's like about it as a company, but they sleep in the company.
Right,
So they have
right,
houses in the company.
right.
So yeah, they invested in us as a future product that they understood that plastic has to be replaced, and basically they do believe in us as the material that we did. They believe in us. We are going to the right way, and together with them and another two private investors, we raised the company. Also, we made some nice movement on the product itself. We made a patent on it. We have some new customers, and we're starting to grow very nice. Hopefully we will have a solution, a bigger solution for what we're looking for, and make a bigger impact on the industry. And that's what we aiming. The idea basically in the product is, after a lot of time in the packaging industry, and I understand that very clearly today, our idea is to come with a product that will be cost effective. That's the main thing. That is something that it will be outside a cost-effective product that also be compostable. So you have the compostability, it's a green product, it must be coming from a byproduct material, meaning that I cannot take my raw material if it's from a petroleum or food from people or whatever. I just need something to the leftover of something.
Mm-hmm.
And to use that is very, very important to us as well. And we believe that we can solve that.
Mm-hmm. And I think you touch on a really important point of sustainable practices. It's called circular design, where you repurpose a byproduct into something which again goes back to the soil and is biodegradable. So you complete this whole circle. So you don't create something new and you don't
Absolutely.
leave anything behind. That's the beauty about W Cycle's products.
I think also you're right that that's the beauty of the idea. And I want to take, with your permission, a bit speaking about how the recycling work today and
True.
put some light on that. And I think that it's very important what you said, because the focus here is very important to be with a logical way, meaning that if we're talking about a product, we have to think about all the cycle. So today, when thinking about recycling, I'm thinking about I will produce plastic, I will take it out, use it, and then I will bring it in and clean it and make a new product. Mainly that it will be something that I don't need, a bench or a chair or whatever, but it will stay from plastic. And then I say that I recycle the product. Now, the big problem of recycling is, from my point of view, is of course, we didn't succeed until now to recycle. I mean, the recycle percentages in the world are ridiculous. We are on, I think, 3%, I think. And the idea to collect plastic back, from my point of view, is to take care of the problem after you make it. So I don't know if you know the terms of downcycle and upcycle solution.
You can explain it for our listeners to know what is upcycle and what is
Yeah,
downcycle.
so it's very simple. It's very simple, and it's good that it's simple. The downcycle and the upcycle is the understanding that if I take a product and use it, and then I have to collect it and clean it and recycle it, so I take care of the problem after I make it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is downcycle. And the upcycle, I said, no, I will not even go into that problem. I will stop it at the beginning. I will not make the plastic that I will not have to, I will not have to take care of it and clean it after. I will find something else to replace that. So this is to take care of the problem upcycle at the beginning. Now, when we're saying upcycle, we also mean that I will give a nice analogy that I'm used to, and it's a bit funny. But when I'm looking at my children, I give them a good food, a healthy food, that they will not be sick. That's because I'm taking care of the problem upcycle. But if I were doing the downcycle logic, I would say, okay, I will give them a crappy food that will hurt them. And then when they will be sick, I will take care of them with medicine, or I will take care of them. And I think that this analogy explains why it's a big, big problem to use plastic and saying, let's recycle it after. And this is where we put our line and said, okay, the recycling is something that we are not going into that. So our product as a determination must be when even by mistake, it's not going to the compostable. It's, let's say, it's fell down on the street, that after a while it will dissolve. No matter what happened, it will not stay as, let's say, forever. And that is very important. Even if you will take a tray from paper and you throw it to the ocean, at the end of the day, it's like to throw a tree to the ocean or banana to the ocean. That's what it says.
Right.
And if you take a plastic to the ocean, you get a Texas-sized island from plastic in the ocean, and then you ask yourself what I'm doing now.
Right. And I think you touched on a really good point, because there are a lot of products which out there which say they're commercially compostable. That means they can be composted only in a commercial setting. Your product can be put in my garden compost, or on the street, for instance, if you really want to litter or you drop it in the street, it will dissolve. You don't have to do anything special. It doesn't need large equipment or anything else to compost it. That's exactly what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So you did understood me. That's good.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I know. It's not that easy to understand this. It sounds simple, but eventually not all of the people understand that because it's not out there. And I think that it's very important that it will be out there. Simple, and it's not nice to say, but simple and stupid. It's very important that people will understand what they are doing and what the impact of the things.
How long does it take to biodegrade?
It's yeah, let's say if you put that into the compostable streaming, so you can get up to 180 days that the product will be dissolved to water, biomass, and air. But if it's out there, it depends on on the type where it is. But I think that after a cycle of a year and a half, you will see that it's become particles, and then it will be dissolved very fast. So it's not like a banana leaf because the banana leaf do have some water inside. But if you take a tray and you throw it to the ground and you have a cycle of rain, it will finish after 1.5 year, something like that.
Where is your manufacturing?
Today we are using a couple of places, and in these days we raising a factory in Indonesia. The manufacturing side is a well-known molded fiber, so we are not inventing there anything. What we're bringing is the know-how of the recipe, and by that we're making a product that will be suitable and workable. When customers getting product and it's starting to leak, they don't like to touch it anymore, and then they say, oh, the product is not good enough. And there it's very important to make a good product to the customers that will eventually hold the product, feel it that it's quality product, and it's very, very important. We notice that because what they're doing is today our product is competing with a plastic product. So it's very hard competition.
Do you source your raw material in Indonesia or?
Yeah, we have partners that manufacturing sugar, and the sugar that they manufacturing is from sugarcane. So we taking the canes after they extract the sugars, and we making a pulping from cellulose from the sugarcane. The leftover it's lignin. We succeeding to take the lignin and make it a fertilizer for crops. And this is a very nice thing that making paper, but in economical way. And then after we doing the cellulose, we molded the fiber into a molded fiber machine. And over there, after that, we're having the product that we want. So that is the cycle. If you look at the full cycle, you take leftover of the industry of the sugar, you make a product, you use the product, you putting the ready meals inside. Let's say that it's for children in the school. So the children eat the food after how much children eat? 20 minutes? 7 minutes? How much? They're using it for 20 minutes. They eat the food. And when they throw the trays, either to compostable or whatever, then the product eventually will be biomass, water, and air. So it will go back to the land. So that's a full cycle.
What is your distribution method? Are you just doing B2B? I saw something on your website that you were targeting airline industry and you mentioned the meat packaging industry in the grocery stores. So do you do only B2B,
Yeah,
or if I'm having a party at home and I need disposable plates, can I get your
yeah.
product?
So unfortunately, we do not making B2C. We only working B2B. The thing is that the B2B is very important for us because one of the thing in my bones, burning is to make a big impact on the industry. And the forte of our company is our recipe and our product is not distributing abilities. There is a lot of good companies that know how to distribute. When we working B2B, we're working with distributions. So they doing the distributing and we are doing the product. That's why we are not going to the end user distribution. And I think that when we talk about the kind of the product of meat industry or ready meals or whatever. What we aiming is any product that you put food inside, either raw food or ready meals, and you want to change your product to sustainable or even to reduce your footprint, meaning that you're using today a tray and you want to replace only the tray, that's good enough. So we can help in that area.
There's no leaching like of odor or flavor which gets transferred from your packaging to the food.
Not at all. No, not at all. Think about it as a cellulose. It's a raw material basically that made out of plant. Even if it's leached to the food, you're eating
Right.
cellulose. But not at all. We have all the certification that needed, meaning the FDA approved, the EN approved, the European Food Grade approved, and also the compostable approving. So all the certification are there. What we planned before the corona was, to target the airlines, but unfortunately it was down and all this industry had a big bad impact. We are working with them on a very small scale now because nobody's came back. But I believe that when they will be there, and the food industry are also going to the ready meals that we are there helping to reduce plastic over there. We're targeting this section as well. And now we are going to the meat industry that we are focusing on fresh meat with the ability of that we are not observing the liquid. So we have a lot of good impact on the tray that is not sulky. So not only meat, anything that you pack and you want some durability, you want some product that will hold, customers knows where to find us and they come to us.
And the talking about the pandemic and how habits have changed. We went to a restaurant after like 5 months in our town, and it was interesting. They gave our food in disposable carry-out containers and packed like as if you were carrying out. So they had outdoor dining. You sit there, you eat, but they bring your food packed in a bag, paper bag, and they leave it on your table. You take it out yourself, and they have disposable cutlery. You eat it out of these cardboard boxes, and you put it back in this paper bag, and the server takes it away. So this was a good restaurant, a fancy restaurant, which normally did not use paper or plastic, had tablecloths and china, but they have completely switched to this models. And I actually felt more comfortable when everything was thrown away. I was more comfortable with this model. I felt safer that the food is coming straight from the kitchen where somebody's wearing a mask across the street to where I was sitting in a closed container, not in an open plate. And also the safety of the server, she's not exposed to carrying my dirty plates back too, right? So the world is changing. What is you lost in the
Yeah,
airline
yeah.
industry would probably gain slowly in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite funny. From my point of view, I prefer to reduce use of disposable products. So, as a matter of ideological thinking, I prefer to take a multiply plates or, to take a plate and to wash it after. But I know that it's in some places it's very hard. The idea of the new virus times, our world a big change in all that variety of behavior. And I think that, to use disposable as something that will be cleaner can work. I hope that in that matter, people will more put attention on what kind of container they use. That's the main key. Meaning that even containers with papers and lamination, that the laminated itself is from plastic, and that's not, let's say, it's not solving our problem because therefore the compostability or the disposable of the product will no longer will be if using plastic laminated on the tray. And I think that when you want to solve one problem and you bringing different kind of solution that looks green but is actually more problematic than the other one, that is something that is worried me. And hopefully people will get to the position that they understand these kind of things, and it's coming from the people. Sometimes they demand a compostable trays or ask the owner to use as much as possible compostable product. I hope that it will come this awareness at the end of the day. It will give us a greener and nicer place to live on our earth.
I think you hit the nail on the head of exactly what our podcast wants to do. It wants to give consumers these alternatives. Consumers have the power to change. And if the consumers know these green alternatives and they demand that the airline industry or the restaurant or the electronics packaging industry for that matter, if they communicate that they want a more sustainable product, it will happen. So part of our mission is to educate the consumers. Use your power and try to make a more mindful world.
Absolutely. I think the new generation is more understand the situation and more likely he will change the things. He will be more rational on that matter.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for coming on Mindful Businesses. We've really, really enjoyed talking to you.
It was really, really nice talking to you.
If you're a creator of a mindful brand or would like to recommend a mindful brand to be featured on our show, send us a message on our Facebook or Instagram page. If you learned a thing or two from this episode, share it with a friend. Like, share our Instagram and Facebook page. Subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. We recorded this podcast in Lafayette, Indiana. Tatum Gale composed the music for this podcast. This is Vidya Iyer for Mindful Businesses.